When you think of Six Flags, you tend to think of coasters and thrills, but in reality, you should be thinking about frights and chills. Because believe it or not, the most popular thing that Six Flags has ever created wasn't always successful as it is now. Whether there are thrills by day or frights by night, the fear will be calling. So hold on tight. By the early 70s, Six Flags was successfully operating now with 3 parks to their name. Opening their first park was Six Flags Over Texas, located in Arlington, Texas, on August 5, 1961. Six Flags Over Georgia, located in Austell, Georgia, on June 16, 1967. And the new for 1971, Six Flags Over Mid-America, located in Eureka, Missouri, on June 5, 1971. In the early decades of Six Flags history, Six Flags would take a lot of risks, being that amusement parks were shifting to theme-centric focus, with Disneyland being the blueprint. Before the Looney Tunes and DC acquisition, Six Flags didn't have a mascot nor an identity really either. Therefore, Six Flags early on would have the tendency to pay and outsource major TV figures and icons to appear around the parks. For example, Sid and Marty Krofft's popular Saturday morning TV program HR Pufnstuf was at Six Flags Over Georgia as a walk-around character during the time of the show's rise of popularity, along with Pufnstuf's sidekick, Kling and Clang. Even the Quaker Oats got in on the action when they became a corporate sponsor in the 70s and had Captain Crunch roaming around as well. Look at that face. But in search of an identity within the first decades of Six Flags history, Six Flags was looking to extend the theme park season. The park began to look towards seasonal offerings, and no better seasonal event to venture into than a Halloween one. Halloween, a celebration where we pause for a moment and essentially address the mysteries that frighten us, and in a way, we celebrate them. But before Six Flags went on to have a well-renowned event on their hands with Fright Fest, for context, we must venture back to the early decades of Six Flags history and explore what is the origin of Six Flags ties with Halloween, and what event and or how did they celebrate Halloween, and what was there before Fright Fest, if anything. 1971. A decade after the first Six Flags opened in 1961, one would be able to meet the popular Bozo the Clown, deemed as the world's most famous clown, whom was introduced in the United States in 1946 and televised in 1949. But this was a very special meet and greet that Six Flags Over Texas held as a special Halloween treat for guests. Guests would be able to meet Bozo, ride all of the rides, see all of the shows, and save $2 on their tickets with the special coupon. This meet and greet occurred 2 days in the fall of 1971 on October 30th and Halloween Day of October 31st. American singer, songwriter, actor, and comedian Boris Pickett would perform his monster hit, Monster Mash, with the Crit Kickers at Six Flags Over Texas for their Halloween party on Saturday, October 27, 1973. Then a second performance the following day on Sunday, October 28th at Six Flags Over Mid-America in Missouri. Also at Six Flags Over Texas and Six Flags Over Mid-America, the 2.5-hour illustrated history of horror films was being specially presented in the Chevy Show Theater at Six Flags Over Texas, along with The Mummy's Ghost would be shown all day at the Southern Palace Music Hall. While Six Flags Over Mid-America would receive a special overlay of their family funhouse that would be transformed into the Haunted House of Howls, and Injun Joe's Cave would be transformed into the Creepy Cave of Hideous Horrors, although the ride's regular name, Injun Joe's Cave, was already utterly hideous, horrible, and offensive. But one park would change how Six Flags would operate in the fall for Halloween for years to come. In 1975, Astroworld would be acquired by Six Flags. A year later, in 1976, Astroworld would set a record with their attendance numbers in their second year under the Six Flags chain, with a 12% attendance gain. With Vice President and General Manager of Astroworld stating, "The success of Astroworld has the combination of programs, pride, new additions, and special events designed to constantly please our guests every minute of their visit." During the fall, Astroworld would partner with March of Dimes, United Cerebral Palsy, and numerous civic and business organizations in creating an astronomical Halloweekend, which is the first time Six Flags would use the phrase Halloweekend that would over time become the official name of a Halloween event across their chain of parks. But parks such as Six Flags Over Texas would continue their Halloween celebration at the park as a haunted Halloween party, which would feature fortune reader and advisor Madame Pearl, Dracula, Dr. Frankenstein, Wolfman, Godzilla, King Kong, and even monstrous creatures of Star Trek, just to name a few. In 1977, while many Texans were getting married, master in the art of illusion Harry Blackstone Jr., who appeared at the same events of the likes of Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley, would add his magic to the Halloween treat performances at the Music Mill Theater at Six Flags Over Texas. The highlight of 1977's Halloween party at Six Flags Over Texas would be the world's largest jack-o'-lantern standing at 15 feet tall located at the park's entrance. Also, coupons were offered called Fun Day Money, where one could get $2.95 off full-price tickets to the Halloween party weekend. But this is the year that the Halloween party on weekends would extend across two separate weekends of October 22nd and 23rd and October 29th and 30th, instead of just Halloween weekend. In the same year of 1977, the Halloween weekend celebration would make its way to Six Flags Over Georgia on October 29th and 30th, deeming their event officially as Halloweekends, the first time since Astroworld's Halloweekend in 1976. Six Flags Over Georgia would advertise their theme for Halloweekends as Land of Screams and Dreams. This would include candy giveaways, movies, a hobo goblin parade? Although I think they meant hobgoblin, but Six Flags Vice President and General Manager Errol McCoy stated that Halloweekend is a fresh new approach to a very special time of year, going further by stating that Six Flags' perception and concern is that in recent years there has been a decline in trick-or-treating and other Halloween fun due to parents' concern for safety, where Six Flags wanting to offer parents an alternative to turning their youngsters loose on the streets, where an alternative that the entire family can enjoy together. Now deemed as the largest Halloween party in the Southeast, Halloweekends in its second year at Six Flags Over Georgia would expand to 2 weekends spanning from October 21st and 22nd and October 28th and 29th. This would include the addition of Buford the Buzzard dressed as Dracula, with Doom of Dracula and Bride of Frankenstein movies showing throughout the evening. Six Flags Over Texas would officially name their Halloween event now as Halloweekend in 1979, featuring Max Maven, the Thief of Thoughts. While back at Six Flags Over Georgia, they'd go bumpin' boogie in the night with Z93's spectacular Mellow Yellow Disco Party, where it was advertised to actually wear a costume and a mask, while Halloween events nowadays at Six Flags do not allow Halloween masks. 1979 would also see Magic Mountain being sold to Six Flags and them bringing their Haunted Mountain Halloween celebration with them. But it wouldn't be until 1982 though, that Six Flags would see a seasonal haunted house dedicated special to Halloweekends. See, the Halloween events beforehand, including Halloweekends, would usually just contain costume figures such as monsters, jack-o'-lanterns around the park, musical performances, and trick-or-treating. But the House of the Living Dead would be featured in the old Spanish fort that was overhauled with special lighting, sound effects, trap doors, and live, and as it was stated, not so live models. A year later, 1983, in an attempt to get more people out to the fall events and festivities including Halloweekends, Six Flags began to offer for the first time fall season passes for $19.95, where guests would be able to visit the park for just a few more dollars more than a regular one-day ticket and be able to ride all of the rides and enjoy a multitude of fall seasonal events and concerts. 1984. Six Flags Over Texas added a special Halloween overlay to Spelunker's Cave with 17 specialty Halloween scenes throughout the ride. While multiple rides would be decorated at Six Flags Over Georgia as part of an employee ride decoration contest, a haunted Halloween trail took place at Carousel Hill at Six Flags Over Georgia with the new for 1984 Trail of Doom, which according to Joe Edwards, Associated Press writer for the Anderson Independent Mail, stated that the Trail of Doom is an eerie nighttime trek through the wilderness on Carousel Hill. But briefly staying on Six Flags Over Georgia in 1985, the Halloweekends event would extend at Six Flags Over Georgia over the course of 3 weekends dating from October 19th, 20th, 26th, 27th, and November 2nd and 3rd. With Bally Manufacturing having purchased Six Flags in 1982, Bally created a new Halloween event that would debut at Astroworld in 1986 called Fright Nights. This would mark the second time that a brand new Six Flags Halloween event would start with Astroworld, to which Fright Nights did expand to other parks the following year that we will discuss in the next installment. But Halloweekend still continued on at other parks such as Six Flags Great Adventure, where special to the park saw a magic show, spooky storytelling, Halloween cartoons in the Adventure Theater, and the world's largest King Kong inflatable. While Halloweekends would happen at some Six Flags parks till the early 90s, and Fright Nights would occur at other Six Flags parks during the same period of time, creating a Halloween event for theme parks wasn't very common during this time, with many theme parks closing after the summer. Halloween provided a fun, thrilling sense of excitement, where one word comes to mind when I think of what Six Flags was about to create, and that word is frisson. A sudden, strong feeling of excitement or fear. A thrill. While Cedar Fair's Cedar Point would take on Halloweekends as the name of their own Halloween event in the 90s, with the difference of capitalizing the W in weekends. A thrill of fear would soon intensify in the fall yet again, across all Six Flags parks, with what was to come next in Fright Nights.
Visit her blood relatives at the gruesome guest house and roam the cemetery where her dead husbands can't stay buried. Right now you can save $5 on Friday nights and Sundays, or $3 on Saturdays with a Dr. Pepper can. Fright Nights at Six Flags. Come share the chills. Honey, I'm home!
Ooh, better get a doctor.